How much auto insurance do I really need? If you have a car worth less than $5,000 and you could easily buy a similar one with cash savings, then just get liability. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you couldn't easily pay for a car out of pocket, get comprehensive collision insurance as well. Even if your car is cheap, it still gets you to your job. It's important to get to your job, and that's why comprehensive insurance is worth it. If you have a cheap car and a clean driving record, it won't cost much. Comprehensive collision will be priced by the value of your car and the level of protection you want. Most people opt for catastrophic coverage. If your car gets wrecked, it gets repaired or paid for at fair value. Some opt for coverage of things like windshields and body dings. That costs more and you can probably skip it. You will need to choose what level of deductible you want. Get the highest you can afford to pay out of pocket and keep that amount in savings if you can. A higher deductible will generally lower your premiums. Ask to hear the premium cost at every deductible though, because it might not be worth it to save $10 a month and have a $1,500 versus a $500 deductible. Think of your deductible as an incentive to drive safely. For liability, I think $100,000 per person medical and $50,000 property damage are the minimum I'd feel comfortable with. Here in Canada we have minimum limits per province, and I think it is the same by state in the US. In my province of Alberta, the minimum limits of liability that someone is required to carry are $200,000. Is this sufficient? Heck no. Usually I find when people ask this question, it's because they want to purchase the minimum amounts that they are required to. Their motivation is often that they're looking for the lowest possible monthly payment. Most people carry around $1 million in third-party liability in my experience. Even then, it's worthwhile to go to $2 million in third-party limits. It is often very affordable to increase this coverage on your policy. If you're ever in an at-fault car accident and send people to the hospital, you would be surprised how fast the costs can stack up. Even $1 million doesn't go very far if it has to go to court and you start considering general and special damages, etc. The insurance company's maximum liability in this kind of scenario is equal to your policy limit. So if you're sued for $2 million on a policy with liability limits of $1 million, you better have $1 million in your bank account or you will have a problem on your hands. Insurance is designed to protect us from these situations. No, they don't happen to everybody, but they do happen, and a good liability limit on your policy is a great line of defense. Make sure you have a good insurance policy. It has to be able to protect you if the situation arises, so throw a few bucks out and carry a sufficient limit of insurance. In Ontario, Canada, you must by law have $1 million in liability insurance. If you're smart, for a few bucks a year more, you should make it $2 million. Insurance in Ontario is the most kept up mess in the world, and the most expensive. It's semi-government and private insurance. The government part is run by this stupid bitch Kathleen Wynne, and she needs a kick in the tits. There's not enough room or time to explain this mess. I would recommend getting as much coverage as you can afford, which is contrary to what many people may think when they go to buy car insurance. I would want to make sure that I was fully protected in case I got into an accident with an expensive car and injured anyone. You could be held liable to reimburse and could lose all of your assets. Just think if you got into an accident with a Porsche 911 Turbo and injured two of the people in the car seriously. The cost of repairing the car and paying for the pain and suffering of the two injured passengers would be tremendous. I like to play things safe, so I would recommend getting full auto insurance coverage and shop around for the best price from different carriers.